Shall I start the session, sir? Ramna, sir?
Yeah, madam.
Shall I start the session, sir?
సార్ రాలేదా వీడియోలోకి? ఓకే.
Yeah, I'm there, sir. Good to go. Yeah.
ఓకే ఓకే సార్.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Eminent professors and prize delegates, a delightful morning to you all. On behalf of Department of Pharmaceutics and Biotechnology and Siddhartha Pharma Innovation and Incubation Center, KVSR Siddhartha College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, I extend a hearty welcome to the 8th and final day session of 1 week online faculty development program on emerging trends in pharmaceutical sciences, challenges from academic research to commercialization. I hope you must have relished each moment of these 7 days. Let us proceed with the last session of faculty development program. It's my privilege to invite Dr. Adinarayan Reddy sir, API Plus Program Manager, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories Limited, IPDO, Bachpalli, Hyderabad, to deliberate on the topic entitled Pharmaceutical Product Development, Global Regulatory Requirements. Now, let us look into the highlights of Dr. Adinarayan Reddy sir's profile. Yes, sir. Sir has done his master's and PhD in pharmacy. Sir is currently working at Dr. Reddy's Laboratory Research and Development Center as Associate Director based at Hyderabad. Sir has over 70 years of experience and worked at various levels in companies such as Alchem, Torrent, Suven, and Shifa Medicare. Sir have multiple papers in international journals and have 3 patents to his credit. Sir is being a certified trainer and a motivational speaker. Sir is helping to the underprivileged sections and transforming their lives through training and coaching. Sir is being striving with the purpose to influence 1 million students by imparting life lessons. He is an NLP master practitioner and coach, and mind mastery coach as well, coach of joyful and conscious living. So we are fortunate to have you for today's session, sir. With this brief profile of Sir's achievements and glory, now I introduce Sir to take up the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Arifu ma'am. Thanks for the nice introduction. So, happy morning to all. I request everyone, if possible, please switch on your videos. So we make it more interactive. There is nothing like I am going to teach something here. So we just consider it as a knowledge sharing session. So whatever I learned in my last 17 years by working at various roles, I would like to share. First of all, I'm so happy to be part of this session and thankful to our Ramna Reddy Garu and Arifu ma'am for giving this wonderful opportunity to me. And as we are all in the same fraternity, so it is always better to interact and share. So first of all, I would like to convey, I am almost working 17 years. I was heading the R&D in my previous organizations. And right now I'm working as a delivery manager. So from last 8 years, I have been handling almost 130 dossier submissions and almost got 100 plus dossiers been approved in 20 plus countries. So I'm working with Indonesia, Malaysia, Taiwan, Thailand, Hong Kong, Saudi, Kuwait, Qatar. So almost I will handle from Dr. Reddy's 20 plus countries. I'm the overseeing in charge from end to end, from agreement making to commercialization. So I seen your topic, challenges from academic research to commercialization. I thought you've taken very broad. So you need to start from, we call it as POC. Normally, most of the POCs we develop at academics or some sponsorship like startups. So that is how any journey starts. Once we have POC, that POC is proof of concept. So once something looks lucrative and it has some advantage, then slowly we, maybe at academic level, maybe at industry level, will groom or progress in a journey to assess, is it viable to the mankind? Is it useful? Is it potential than existing medicines? So this is how the journey starts. And you rightly, aptly selected the topic, academics to commercialization. So you covered entire range. I also tried to just give a glimpse of all the activities, because giving everything in 1.5 hours is very, very tough. But I'm trying my best to give how the journey starts from inception till to commercial, and what are all the different challenges we are going to face in this journey. So with this brief introduction, we will just move on to today's topic. I chosen is that pharmaceutical development meeting global regulatory requirements. So it is a challenging event to industry today. So we touch the topic and we see how we are progressing at industry level. Okay. Just allow me 1 minute. I am sharing the screen. So is my screen visible right now? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Good.
So as slides also moving?
Yeah, moving.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, the topic we taken today is pharmaceutical development meeting global regulatory requirements. And the brief agenda would be, we are going to discuss today about drug approval process, mainly role of regulatory agencies and pharmaceutical industries. Then we also touch drug approval process in different parts of the world. Then we also see global and Indian pharmaceutical industry, how it is standing today. And we also discuss on emergency use authorization. And we will also discuss few challenges the industry is facing. Then we touch upon how to overcome these challenges. So I just made it to brief you the entire chain. If we see the drug approval process, so this drug approval process, mainly it governs by the regulatory agencies. Okay. Maybe the academic or scientific bodies or industries will present their proposals to regulatory bodies, and regulatory bodies in turn will assess and whether they may approve or reject with a proper reasoning. So why we do this submission? Obviously, one is like to provide the solutions to the human ailments, and the other one is to do the business. So by doing this process of treating human diseases, we also have an intent of doing business. So this is how industries or scientific bodies or academicians will come into this process. So in the whole process, what regulatory agencies will do? So the regulatory agencies do, they will act as a gatekeeper. So anything before entering into the market, the regulatory agency will check and see its efficacy and safety. So that is the foremost responsibility of any regulatory body across the world. Then they have another power given to them. This is enforcement. So anything which is not following or binding to the laws governed in the process of making or importing medicine for public health, They have the authority to enforce, and if needed, it will be like our policing system. They can even punish if they notice any offense. And also it governs the safety. Okay. So basically, if you see most of the cases, this all we know, like we have two processes. One is like new drug, other one is abbreviated new drugs or generic drugs. So most of the things, the innovator space lies in this. So innovator will do any innovative medicine, and he passed through different stages of drug development like preclinical, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. And it may cost 15 years, and it will roughly cost 1 billion rupees, means 7,000 crores to make any medicine put into the market. Whereas ANDAs, where Indian pharma is more strong and operating is this ANDAs, we call it as abbreviated new drug application. So this abbreviated new drug application is nothing but the generic or copy of the innovator formulation. So why it is simple? Mainly because we are not doing so many clinical studies like preclinical phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 or phase 4, just because it is already been done and it is proven safe. So by minimizing these set of activities, the generic player can develop the formulation and enter into market. Okay. So what these generic formulations will do, they do not do clinical studies. They perform BE studies instead, and they take maybe 2 to 5 years for development and getting approval. It will cost roughly few millions. So what is common to both of them, like labeling requirements, testing requirements will be common for ANDA and NDA. Similarly, whatever I explained, this is the whole process. If you develop from preclinical to filing an NDA to launch, it may take roughly 20 years and it will cost roughly 1 billion rupees. Then now this is a brief. Now we can see how the approval process runs in different countries. So if you see that way, like in US, where our majority of the revenues lies, okay. So how the process runs here, request for the plant inspection. And whenever we want to do, we will see that the applicant means, suppose I'm in Dr. Reddy's. So now I am the applicant. What I do, I submit the ANDA, that is the abbreviated new drug application. Then it will go for screening, means all the sections in the form of ECTD are there in the submitted dossier or not. If it is there, then they will accept the file for review. So if it is not set in the screening phase itself, it get rejected. Okay. Then you will get a refusal letter. Then we have to amend and submit once again. Otherwise, it will be taken for the review. And if you see in the FDA, there are different sections in FDA, like one section of FDA will focus on plant inspection, and other section, we call it as CMC, chemistry and microbial review. And other section is called labeling, and other section is called clinical. So these are all the different departments in FDA where your file or different modules will be put into different departments for review. Suppose module 1, we call it as module 1 is more about administration. What is the plant? What is the API site? Where we are manufacturing? Does it has any inspection or not? What kind of inspections it went through? Is plant is following GMP or not? All this will be part of module 1. So this module 1 of our dossier will goes to the inspection section of FDA, and they will review and they will give feedback. Similarly, module 3 is nothing but our CMC. It will go for the department called CMC. They will review the quality part of it, like what is the API, what is the specs for API, what is the formulation we used, how we are controlling the impurities, what is the process variables we are using, what is the CQS. All this critical information will be part of module 3, and that module 3 will goes to the review to the chemistry department. And module 1 also has the labeling section, like how is your artwork, what is the printed matter on the cotton box or the blister or the bottle or the PI, patient information leaflet we are providing. So all this will go to labeling department. Similarly, the M5 section we call it is the bioequivalent section. So in this, what is the type of bio study we perform, and is it meeting all the requirements as per the guidance? So is there any deviations? Is there any adverse events? Is the safety has been established? Is the efficacy is okay? All these things will be reviewed at bioequivalence section. So once these sections will approve, they may approve or they may give comments. They may approve, they may reject. They may approve or they can give issue deficiency. Deficiency is nothing but the comments given by the reviewer to the company. So once we get deficiency, we have the stipulated time close to 60 days to 90 days. Within that stipulated time, we have to address these queries from the reviewer to the agency, and agency again will review, and it may again issue the deficiency or it may approve. Okay, this is the process. Once we have completed everything, it will approve or it may reject our file. So this is how once we develop the product, we submit the file, nothing but the dossier to the agency. Okay, once that is done, then they will whether accept the file or reject the file. If the rejection, then they will give rejection letter. What is the main reason? Suppose we are not proving safe, or it is not bioequivalent, or some adverse events has been reported during the BE study, or some critical aspects in the process like API quantity, assay, some unwanted impurity. All these are critical attributes which should not be part of the product. So once any reviewer will strictly review on all these aspects, and if he is happy and it is free from all these major defects, then only we get approval. Otherwise, it will go for rejection. And in the rejection letter, they will clearly mention what kind of quality defects the reviewer has been noticed and why we were unable to justify. Even we give response and why our response is not satisfactory and why it is not meeting to the standards. So with all detailed explanation, the reviewer will give us a rejection letter so that we need to redevelop and resubmit the application. So this is in brief about how the process runs in US. Like that, each country has its own regulatory body who governs the product. So from the filing to the approval, these are all different sections. Above this, there will be one in charge who can approve, means who is the central authority from all the functions. Okay, so he is the person who can approve or reject basing on the comments from the technical team. So this is the process we've seen with respect to US. Suppose you consider in in India. So in India, how the process runs. This we can understand, just I presented here. So the process here runs like in India, there are two terms. One is called old drug and new drug. So new drug means any drug which has less than 4 years of presence in India. Suppose some has launched a product in US. We only came to know it is the product launched by innovator in US and Europe, but that product will not be there in India. If it has to be in India, then it has to pass through a regulatory process of India. Then our regulators once accept, then the product can be placed into Indian market to the Indian population. Otherwise, there is no choice of drug enter into Indian market. Okay. So this process, to sum up, we have two sections. One is new drug and old drug. New drug is like any drug has less than 4 years of life in Indian market is called as a new drug. So all the new drugs which are to be entered into India has to process this flow. Like any innovator want to place the product into India, they have to put application. And for us, the reviewing body is CDSCO, Central Drug Standard Controlling Authority is our controlling body for the new drugs. Okay. So this body will review, and what this body will do, this body will refer the file to the evaluation. Here in India, we call it as IND committee, Investigation New Drug Committee, as it is a new drug, or we call it as a scientific committee. So scientific committee in Indian segment consists of all the experts in that field. Suppose innovator has wishing to launch a cancer product. So what Indian government will do through CDSCO is This committees of CDSCO or the pharmacist or the regulator or the drug controller at CDSCO will appoint a committee who will comprise of experts in that particular domain, who all great personalities in Indian context who can understand the medicine, its pharmacokinetics and dynamics, its adverse events and side effects, and what's benefit versus risk ratio, who can able to assess it properly. All the people close to 10 to 12 persons will be part of this committee. Whenever any new drug comes to the CDSCO, basing on this CDSCO will appoint a committee. This committee asks the applicant, suppose I am the applicant, ask the applicant to present the application. So means what is the drug, why it is new, where the action site is there, and how the safety has been proven in US or Europe, where it has been initially been launched, and what is the review process they underwent with regulatory body of US FDA or like EMA for Europe. So all these details will be been asked or sought by the scientific body. Once the applicant will present all the scientific information, our scientific information committee may accept such data, or our scientific committee may recommend to perform few clinical studies or few BE studies basing on the need of molecule and the demography of Indian population. So what is the difference we have seen to the US or Europe population to what is the difference we can notice the population of India and how it is going to impact the population of India because of the differences we as Indians have. So this understanding the committee has, the committee will request the applicant to perform with some additional studies than submitted by the US and Europe population. Then they will review, or upon reviewing, they can grant the application or they can reject the application. So this is the process. Once any applicant grant the license, it can put into the Indian market. Suppose any drug is older than 4 years, is considered as a older drug in India. So any older drug, there is no need to process this complete cycle because it only applicable for the new drugs. So any drug which has passes 4 years means by the time there will be almost 4 or 5 players will be there, and government at CDSCO level will has all the safety data like PSUR, periodic safety update report, or the PMP, we call it as RMP, risk mitigation plan. What is that? So last 4 years the drug entered and how many patients has been used this in India. So in India, is there any different adverse events or side effects has been noted? If not, it is following the common trend of other markets like US and Europe. So this consolidation report will be there. Once they have the safety and efficacy has been proven and it is being safe to the Indian population, then the scientific committee will overrule and say that this can be classified as a older drug. This older drug will be get approved through the state committee. There is no need of going to the central committee like CDSCO. All older drugs in India beyond 4 years, once the safety and efficacy has been established on Indian population, can directly be applied to the state body. We have each state has its own drug control authority. We call it as DCA. So we apply the file to the DCA. DCA will review the product quality. They cannot go to all this clinical or bio or side effects toxicity because that is being established by CDSCO. They don't go to that point and they will only see the molecule, how you are processing, what is your process, what is your validation, all the product is meeting to specs or not, and is proper stability has been generated. All this CMC data they will see and they will approve the product. So this is how old and newer drugs will get approved in India. This is the process we follow. Sorry. So this, I just thought of presenting one more country here. Just read it as Indonesia. So why I presented all these countries are because even we are seeing it is globalization or one standard, but in reality it will not exist. Okay, in reality each country has its own kind of framework and its own kind of review mechanism and its own query system and its own approval system. Okay, so how it runs in Indonesia kind of country is, so in Indonesia what happens is, suppose we are presenting our drug product. So typically what a drug product contains, drug product will has a drug substance, excipients, packing materials, and the finished product. So what is the major things or excipients? So if you see, there will be 5-6 components in the drug product. So like your drug substance, your excipients, your packing materials, and like any printing material for the patient use, okay, or any device to take the medicine. So what they do, all these will be manufactured by different people. So if you want to file in Indonesia, you have to first register all these manufacturers at the reviewing body. So they don't take your file first thing. At a first place, they will ask you, list out the suppliers of present in the drug product. So you have to list out a series saying API, excipient, packing material, and whatever leaflet or the device. You have to list it out the person who is manufacturing it, and list it out what is the quality standards is following. Is it US standards, Europe standards, Indian standards, or any other standards is following? You have to list it out and present to the agency. Then agency will review it, and agency will approve that particular vendor in their website. Means it has to get approved by Indonesian regulatory body. Once they do all this, it may take close to 2 to 3 months. Once that is done, then they will ask for few minimal documents about your product. Then we call it as a pre-registration. This will take almost 6 months. So because they don't like to spend enormous amount of time in reviewing the dossier. So that's why they take in a stepwise process. Suppose they notice that something is not okay, they don't even accept your dossier. Even in the initial stage itself, they will say that this will not be been reviewed because of so and so reasons. That's why they take in a framework of segmentation. In the segmentation, first they see all the sites which are all involved in the drug product. Then once it is passed through, in the next 6 months, what they do, it is called pre-registration. In pre-registration, they will ask key documents of the drug substance and drug product, and they will review them. Once that is done, we go for what we call in other countries like dossier submission will happen at the registration stage. So before going to registration stage, we roughly have 7 to 9 months of review process. Then if the regulators are okay with that, then they will approve your dossier. They will ask formally to submit the dossier. And once the dossier has been submitted, they will review all the CMC, clinical and labeling parts. Then they will approve or reject your application. So this is one framework of reviewing the dossier and getting the approval. So this is another set or another model in different country like Indonesia. So this system. I have just classified few groups. There are few countries like Canada, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. They follow US system. So if you know US system, almost 10-15 countries you can bucket, and the agents will follow similar kind of thing. I see in Indian system also will be reviewed and get like Pakistan or Bangladesh, Bhopal, all these countries will follow Indian kind of reviewing system. I said Indonesia, this kind of system is prevail in Saudi Arabia, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Taiwan. So all these regulated, most of the Asian markets will follow this kind of framework to review the dossier. And there is one more kind of dossier review process. Just I taken country name as Bangladesh. So in this, there is no much greater regulations. What they do, we call it as COPP, Certificate of Pharmaceutical Product. So what this says is there is a WHO GMP standards. So what it speaks is that any product being approved by major regulators in the world, like US, Europe, Brazil, there are listed countries, 15 to 20 countries listed by Bangladesh MOH, Ministry of Health. So if your product has been, suppose Dr. Reddy's do business in close to 70 countries. Suppose I have the molecule which is been approved in US, then what I should do is I can apply to the FDA to issue the COPP. What COPP depicts or make others understand is like this product has been reviewed by FDA and this product has been approved and it is in the market of US and we haven't noticed any quality defect in this product. So in the COPP, they will mention this information and issue a letter once we request. So this letter we submit to the agency. That agency will just simply basing on this one letter, they will issue the authorization to sell in that particular market, because sometimes it makes sense. Suppose by seeing all this, suppose Dr. Reddy's like company where focus on US and Europe markets, and they have stringent review process and those have been approved, there is no point of again reviewing the same. See, whoever and wherever we submit the same file, which is get reviewed by FDA. But most of the regulators don't accept that process. But there are countries like Bangladesh where there is no need of submitting complete dossier, but just simply submit a paper which shows that this product has been reviewed and approved by US FDA and it doesn't have any quality defect, and the site being audited by FDA. That two piece of document is enough to sell the product in Bangladesh. So there are few countries which follow this kind of model. Okay. In short, just I given a framework how US like countries will run the review process, or like Indian like countries, how they run the process, or how the Bangladesh, Malaysian or Asian countries run the process, and few countries like Bangladesh run the process. So there is no right or wrong. This is the process adopted by their MOH, and they will follow the governance mechanism and issue the approval letters to sell the product into their country. Okay, so if you see this, it looks like just I run the process from dossier submission to product placing into the market. Okay, so once we get approval, we commercialize the product. There is no bottleneck in that. But at a company level, what happens? Suppose I am working in Dr. Reddy's. So what happens at a company level to face this, to make a dossier, to submit the file, to underwent the review mechanism, to present to the regulators, to address their queries on time, to get approval and launch the product into the country. So to run this process, the company will equip that structured in such a way that they can seamlessly run maybe 50 to 60 these kind of filings in given year. Okay, what it will run is, suppose you see at a Dr. Reddy's broad level, you see this BOD, Board of Directors. These are the people who vision the company, how many they have to do this year and what could be our path for next 5 years kind of thing. Then the legal will come into the picture. Legal will assess what is the merit and is there any bottleneck, is there any legal issues by doing this process. All the processes has been properly structured such that it will not put the company into legal prospects by doing these activities. Then the strategy and business team will be there. These people will give a perfect strategy. So when to begin, when to product should be ready, and when should you file, when should you get approval. So this process will help the company to vision. So what is the right time to place the product into the market? Then there will be also a team called portfolio. This portfolio out of laundry list, maybe 200, 300 molecules, which year, which molecule should be taken. So this, and what is the benefit of selecting this molecule versus another. So that kind of assessment will be done by portfolio team, and the finance team will come into picture and what kind of budget is needed. So if I want to run 50 products, each one costs 10 million, 10 into 50, 500 millions I want to spend this year, is it viable? Okay, so what kind of finance, and if something runs or something get delayed, what is the cost implications because of it? So all this strictly finance driven companies like Dr. Reddy's. So everything will rooted through finance. Any matter, even you're spending 1 rupee also, it could be given through a finance clearance before you initiate any activity. Then of all this, these are all backend. Suppose I am doing formulation. So all this backend will run and come to my function. Okay. So at all, it passes through various stages and it passes through various functions. Then whatever they feel merit of doing this year or this month, this will come to R&D. Then at R&D stage, we do the formulation development, we do analysis or whatever to be done to develop the molecule, we do at R&D. The product development we do. Then once we do product development and we file the product, get approval, this go to manufacturing site. Then from the manufacturing site, it being placed at a commercial level, then it will distribute to the markets across the globe. So these are all the different functions in sync, work together to make it happen as per the time given. Because any project to be given, it is 2 to 5 years time frame. So in the 2 to 5 years time frame, there will be so many constraints will come. Constraints on time, constraints on technical, constraints on failures, constraints on money. So all this, it is a dynamic process. Once I take, it is not of your choice to do whatever you want, because whatever great product you develop, by the time you develop, it lapses the market, the whole investment or whole efforts will become waste. So that's why there is a constant feedback mechanism, which one we should take and which one we should drop, why we are dropping, why we are considering, what is the speed at which we have to work. All will work in sync to make it happen. Okay. So this is like I just broadly given how industry runs to meet the challenge of putting the product into the market. Similarly, suppose just I brought up and see this R&D, how it runs again. So in R&D, if you see, there is a portfolio team who selects the molecule. Then there is intellectual property team who can actually assess the IP part of it. Are we not infringing any of the innovators' claims or innovators' information? And we are devoid of any legal issues. Then finance will be there, who can assess the budgeting and support us to issue the money to run this project. Then there will be FR&D, who actually develop the formulation. Then there will be called analytical R&D, who support to FR&D and assess the quality attributes or the chemical parameters or physical parameters of the formulations. Then there is a function called Center of Excellence. So any of the work we are doing will pass through experts. There are experts for each function, like polymerization, polymorphism, crystallinity, okay, innovator characterization. All these are different functions, because at scientific level, scientists can do, but ultimately, when it been seen as a reviewer point of view, how it could be seen. Is there any major gaps that been reviewed by COE, Center of Excellence, for that particular function? He can seek or he can provide his inputs even at R&D stage, so that it will not fail in the later stage. So whatever feedback mechanism should be there will be driven in the initial stage itself. Then there is a packing function. Similarly, this is global medical affairs. This function will oversee all the clinical, bio, and safety and patient kinetics and dynamic for part of the formulation. Then there is a regulatory function who can interact our company to the different regulators. And there is also a PMO called Project Management Office, who can oversee all the functions in sync to the given role. So this is how the industry at COPUP, suppose we go in deep of each function, it will be multi-layered, multi-structured, and it is very dynamic. They will ensure that there is no lapse in the overall system. So all the raw materials, packing materials, scientists, analytical formulation, finance, IP, all the people, weekly ones or monthly ones or 15 days as per the demand for the project, across the functions, close to 20-25 functions, will sit and discuss section wise. So what is the project, how it is moving, are we in the right direction, there is some flaw, there is some gap, so what could be the remedial mechanism? So this will be properly reviewed and proper decision should be taken. These are all overseen by the R&D head. So these are the mechanism how industry is structured to finally enable the filing, launch, and commercialization. Okay. Now, if you see in short about global pharma industry, like, so as we all know, India is one of the biggest exporter. So somehow we entered into this market and we are being leading the generic space, and we are the major importer, exporter, at least on the pharma side. So it is creating a lot of value and revenue generation to the country at economy side. Okay. So if you see the global pharma industry, these are all like top 15 companies. Now, these are all the indices of 2021. If you see J&J, it is almost, these are all different segments like pharmaceuticals, and it is in medical device, and it is in consumer health. So by climbing all these sections, so it is close to 100 billion. So 1 billion means 7,000 crores. So closely, this company alone will 70,000 crores turnover will do by only J&J. 7 lakh crores, not 70,000. It is, if you convert into Indian rupees, it is 7 lakh crores. So it is 100 billion by J&J. It is leading today, and Pfizer is almost 81 billion. And if you see in the row, Novo Nordisk, it is close to 21 billion. So all these are billion rupees, billion dollars. Okay. So now you see one great thing we can notice is there is no Indian company. Even you see top 20 also, no Indian company will come, because the crux lies the product launch as an innovator. So as we all know, the pharma sector, whoever innovator runs and develop and launch the product, and he has been issued a right called IP right. We call it as patent rights. So close to 15 to 20 years, he has the right to sell by his own, and no other person get allowed into the market during this 20 days period. So whatever we are calling the space is called generics. Generics will come once the innovator completes his tenure. Then we enter as a generic player to the innovator. Thereby our revenue share starts. As we are entering as a generic player, by the time innovator also has a lot of money, he will also come down on his price. Okay, so that price you sell, our volumes may be big, but the revenue will not be big. That is the reason as a generic player, we never compete to the innovator. Okay, so that is the reason also reflecting here, no company is even closer to this mark of maybe 20 million. Okay, this is a global space for pharma companies. And if you see, visualize the market size, the kind of business they do, it is close to this much value. Okay. And if you see simply the Indian sector, how Indian sector is now coping up, it's not a small thing. First thing, even we are not at 20, 25, 30 place also, but Indian pharma sector has a good, at least in the generic space, we are not at innovator space, but by doing this generic space, if you see the the revenue we are creating, close to, suppose Sun Pharma is leading out of all Indian companies, it is close to 33,000 crores. So 33,000 crores, nothing but 7 billion. Here we seen 22 billion is the space we come down. So we are at much, much lower. The topmost Indian company, which is a Sun Pharma, sales is close to 7 billion. Okay. The topmost company is 100 billion USD, but the first Indian company, which has a Sun Pharma, it sales close to about 7 billion. Even it's a very, very huge amount. 33,000 crores is not a small amount, but still we are not in the place of 30 in the world ranking. This is mainly because we are not in the space of innovator. So to come to that space, obviously we have to invent and at least have 2 to 3 molecules in the pipeline, so that you create a revenue close to any innovator company. By simply selling the generic formulation, it's very, very difficult to touch or come closer to the innovator space. Okay. Similarly, if you see Dr. Reddy's is in the third place, it is close to 20,000 crores. 20,000 means almost 3 billion USD. So like that, you see all Indian companies are in the range of 5 to 1 billion. The Torrent Pharmaceutical is in close to 8,000 crores. 8,000 crores is nothing but 1.1 billion. So this is the space. It's a great space. And Indian companies are doing good, better and best than the previous years, year on year. And we have good credibility because of the standards we follow and the standards we put into the market. And if you see, because of this great quality mindset, still we are in the market as a generic player. And you see the exports Indian companies are doing. If you see all these are, we're seeing 10, 15 companies or 20 companies. In a cumulative, if you see how Indian pharma is doing exports, see year on year, it is almost minimum to minimum 20% growth is there. So that is a growth. That is very, very great thing for the Indian people and Indian industry and Indian country as economy. This is creating this much revenue generation as a foreign money coming into India. Okay. So now in 2021, we have 25 billion USD has come from by sales of the medicinal product outside India. So this is the greatness of Indian pharma industry, and we have a lot many opportunity and spaces to touch upon to increase our revenue. And where all we are doing, suppose I said this 25 billion we are selling to outside India. So if you see that matrix from where it is coming, we are selling mostly 34% to the US country alone. So most of our exports will go to US. This exports to US is close to 34 countries. So if you just take the fraction of 25 million into 35%, you will come to know what is the value of the US revenues we are creating just by selling medicines. And 17% of the exports will go to Europe, and 15% of our exports goes to Europe, and 6%, suppose you see here markings, this is Asia, 6%, and 7% is Latin countries. Latin America, LAC means Latin American countries, and 5% is Middle East. Middle East is nothing but all the Gulf region, like Egypt and Saudi, or GCC region like Kuwait, Qatar, and all those markets. And remaining this 16% is from other rest of the world markets. So this is how the Indian pharma sector doing exports for the medicines. Okay. So having said that, still there will be, like whatever we seen, the innovators are earning billions of rupees. If you see, there will not be so many molecules. Each company has one or two or maximum 3 products in their portfolio that is creating that much revenue. Just to make it more emphasized and clear how this market has been spread and how the value creation can be done. This you see only 30 through 32 molecules. Just I put 10 molecules here just for information. They will be like adalimumab or utricumab, rivaroxaban, sitagliptin, liraglutide, palbociclib, and this lestumaxprin, denosumab, tofacitinib, and insulin detimar. So these are all the 10 molecules I given. Only these 10 molecules are creating the value of close to, here we can see, these are all the billions. Okay, these 10 molecules are creating close to 66 billions. And you see adalimumab is only one molecule is creating 24 billion. So this is how innovator companies can get the revenues. Suppose we see Pfizer or J&J, we don't assume that they could have like 1,000 to 2,000 molecules and getting each one 1 billion so that they are making 100 billion. It is not. Okay. So they have 1 or 2 blockbusters in their portfolio. So that molecule itself will create close to 50% of their revenues. By the time it get off patented, as they are innovators, they know how to make it one more molecule, and they will come up with new molecules. Thereby, they always sustain their position. Okay. So this is the, just I presented one slide to just visualize what is the value creation can come down by just inventing one molecule. Okay. So this is, now you see the therapy next going pharma field, the therapies like immunosuppressants, anti-diabetics, and majority of them anti-diabetics are immunosuppressants. So this is the space, or anti-cancers. Going forward, all the dynamics has been moved, and majority of the population are suffering from immune disorders or diabetics or cancer. So these are all the predominant domains now for next 5 to 10 years. So whoever is present in this area, and they can mint millions and billions of dollars. So this is the summary from this table. So these are all like different opportunities we have. Just to sum up what has been changed in recent years. So now we have, what all we have seen is like a traditional way of drug approval process, but we hit with COVID in 2019. Okay, this has completely changed the perspective of how the drug can be made available to the humankind, and what kind of simplicity we can bring in to get it available on the day zero. Suppose that the day hit by corona, if you simply follow the process of 20 years or 25 years or reviewing for 5 years, by the time the mankind would have been vanished by now. So what regulators are doing? Regulators are now very agile and vigilant. Okay, and any medical urgency can be treated in few hours. So now COVID has given a new lesson, a new way of agile working in the space that is given plenty of opportunities to the drug companies now. So now previous one is a traditional system of reviewing because they have a lot number of filings and we've seen this is a standard cycle. You have so many answers to justify. But once pandemic came and hit and it demanded to the medicine on the day zero, the total glimpse or total dynamics has been changed. So there are so many initiatives has been taken by different regulators across the world. But just to put one such kind of example is, we have a provisions called different provisions now enforced by different governments to make it medicines available to meet the urgency. Now we are seeing monkeypox. So now emergency has been declared in so many countries today or yesterday. Okay. Similarly, 2 years back, in the form of COVID, emergency has been declared by so many countries. So people were house arrested. To handle these kind of situations, the regulators put lot of flexibility into the review process. At the same time, they are controlling, but given flexibility, those called like emergency use authorizations. So by just quoting these kind of sections in the regulatory process, you can even get approval on the same day. Suppose you put application today, by today evening you get approval and tomorrow morning you can launch the product. So this is the beauty of different regulations and agility put into the review mechanism. And next process is called conditional approval. And similarly, there is one more process called compassionate use or expanded access. So these are all the different segment of reviewing governance mechanisms where we can address the emergency use of medicines. Okay. So in Dr. Reddy's, we got approval in 25 days. So this is the breakthrough approach. Earlier, we used to apply the product and we have to get it reviewed, we have to get approval. We used to get maybe in 3 years or 5 years. Once this pandemic has come, Dr. Reddy's has entered into the COVID space. We have all the molecules, whatever you name, maybe it is favipiravir, it is vaccine, or it is like molnupiravir, all molecules are there. And good part is we got approval less than a month. So the dynamic has been completely changed now. In this process, what happens is, first you give access medicine to the public. In parallel, the government will review the file, will notify any critical defects, or will work in sync with industry, how to accelerate the medicines available to the humankind. So how it runs, just I give one example because we don't have much time. So I taken one example, how this emergency use authorization runs. So whenever you put emergency use authorization, first of all, that country should be in emergency, first of all. So the government will declare emergency. So once the government declare emergency, this will be noticed to the public. Then basing on this emergency and the category, the drug company has requested who are all the potential in that country. They're all requested by the government, come up with solutions. So they call all the representatives of that particular industry, pharma industry per se. They call all representatives. Suppose if you see in the COVID times, PM himself has a meeting for every week with all the stalwarts of Indian pharma companies. Maybe you name it as Dr. Reddy's, Sun Pharma, or BE, or Biological Events. Any company you name, PM has a weekly call with all the Indian drug manufacturers. So why it is so? Because earlier drug company will put a file and it go to the department and they will follow with them. But now this is emergency. PM himself has been following up all the stakeholders. Maybe it is a regulator, maybe it is a company, maybe it is a supplier, whoever it may be, is coming, getting all the people on single table, and he himself addressing concerns so that the medicine can be delivered tomorrow without any delay. So this is the process has been given by the law, and regulator, not only regulator, even government officials can come into the review process. So there is no need of CDSO can review and release. Maybe government PM Modi can put a committee, that committee will take the decision for the drug, for that application. Like that, you submit EUA and the committee will review it and approve on the same day or within stipulated time. So this is how the whole mechanism or governance can change to treat the public urgencies. Just I said one example, like there are so many other cases. So by seeing all this, okay, now we have seen how the process runs, how industry are coping up, how different framework of other guidances or shortenings has been done, agile system has bring. But out of doing all this, why we are not able to launch globally? Okay, so that I put as a slide called the challenges, what the companies are facing challenges today, why we are unable to put our product into the market. So that may be just because suppose India is not cope up to review the new molecules, or Indian companies are not in that space. So obviously any country has to have product means it looks for US and Europe. So what is the review they done and how it get reviewed? Suppose it get delayed at the US and Europe, obviously we get delayed in our medicine access. Similarly, whatever medicine we are taking, so many times we heard that Dr. Reddy's has got 483, Cipla has got 483, Sun Pharma has 483, the company unit is going to shut down. So all this, why it is happening? Because mainly because whatever site has been manufacturing, it has to follow GMP conditions. Any violation of GMP will strictly goes to enforcement. Enforcement may be a jail or a penalty or a closure of the unit. Okay, these are all like even regulators are given provisions to manufacture, but under certain laws. So manufacturing site GMP and inspection related observation, anything comes, they will notify in US terms, they call as Form 483. Suppose any company has been issued Form 483, they're liable to punish by the agency as per the regulations. Similarly, preclinical data, once they do data at one country, that is not globally been accepted. So suppose I do study at US, again, those few studies like we see in the review of India. So they may review, they may ask us to repeat certain studies. They may ask us to repeat certain CT studies, clinical studies. So all this will put as a challenge to launch the molecule into India. Similarly, BE center accreditation. Suppose any US company has done study in US, but what most of the countries will do is they will inspect the BE center also, and they will also has to have the accreditations by particular country. Suppose I want to launch to Saudi. So Saudi FDA has to review has to inspect the manufacturing site. Similarly, it has to inspect the BE site where we conduct BE studies. So what happens again, even how much good quality product you have, again, these audits and these inspections will come into force, and it may take 9 to 12 months or sometimes 2 years if you not get any critical observations. So this all will be a challenge. Then next challenge is IP challenge. Suppose this product has been developed by somewhere and they protect their product through IP rights. So once the product is in IP rights, then we cannot manufacture those kind of assets and commercialize. Okay. And whatever we do, like testing of drug product in another countries, like whatever we do and release here, again, this will go to particular country of destination like US, Europe, or any other country. There again, it will be get tested before it going into the market. So that is also one of the critical process where suppose you want to test means you have to see method transfer has to happen to the local country, and there could be a qualified person who can test and who can release the COA and who can authorize about the product quality. Once it is done, then only the product will go to the public. So these are all different regulations set forth by different countries. Okay. And suppose we are manufacturing in 3-4 sites. What happens is all the sites will comes under scrutiny, not only the site we manufacture, because it is about product quality as a whole. So all this will put like different time consuming and lot of efforts should put in place. Even you get approval in one country, it is not that much easy to take into the other markets because they have their own regulations and requirements set forth so that you have to fulfill and launch the molecule or get approval. So another thing is like labeling requirements, country specific requirements, and CMC and stability. So this is one thing. And like as we are talking, I am not putting so many other examples here, but I am putting one example, such example where almost all, so many companies get lost their business just because one finding done by one regulator, that is called nitrosamines. Okay. So what happens is until 2018, it is not been identified that there is one compound like nitrosamine has been present in any of the drug products. Okay. Nitrosamine has been classified as a carcinogenic at certain level, but because of the structure and its identity, no pharmaceutical regulator or companies has been focused on that particular area, and they haven't noticed that the drug products has these impurities in them. Okay, but first time in 6th June 2018, API manufacturer by name called Jiang Huai Pharmaceuticals, who is the supplier of Valsartan, has first notified by one of his customers that the customer has notified to the company that they noticed one unknown impurity and it is not being structured. So that information has shaken the pharmaceutical industry. And then after that, what happened? That particular customer who bought the API from this Huawei Pharmaceuticals, Jiang Huawei Pharmaceuticals, he notified that to the Spanish agency that this product, what he bought from Jianghui Pharmaceuticals, has one unknown impurity and structure is not known. So this information has been given to the Spanish medical body, and then it been reviewed thoroughly by European Medical Agency. That is the point when decided 25th June 2018, this company has withdrawn all its products from the market. Okay. So I said this as a challenge because how much knowledge we have, how much proper evaluation, elucidation, and structure all been there, always there is a surprise to the industry. New findings will come up and put a challenge. One such challenge I notified as a nitrosamine. This is been reported in the 2018, and that is the time almost 3 months there is no medicine for majority of the molecules. What happened is agency has given, even to Dr. Reddy's also, we got a letter from agency, and agency has requested, suppose we have 200 ANDAs and 200 molecules in the market. They given simple letter, within 3 months you have to assess and submit the report saying that your products are free from nitrosamine. Suppose you just assess and just little doubt on presence of nitrosamine, they requested to stop the production or recall all the products in the market. So this is the phase all companies has passed through, and all the molecules they generated from the beginning to till date has been assessed for this particular impurity, and they submitted the reports. Wherever it is free from nitrosamine, those been allowed to market, and all other markets been withdrawn from the market. So this is the impact of findings we do or we notice in the life journey of any product. It is not that you get approval today and it is lifelong. So anything comes as a surprise, the regulator has every right to ask you to submit the proper safety or evaluation data. If you're not able to submit, that product will get withdrawn from the market. So just I given nitrosamine history like this, it started in 2018. If it is till that time they triggered and they do multiple permutation combination, and now we notified that separate list has been made and published in the website. What are the different molecules where there is a probability for nitrosamine, and it is being part of spec now in almost all the products. Your spec of the product has to contain my product is free from nitrosamine. So that test has been included in majority of the products, and you have to monitor and confirm that this particular impurity is not there in any of the medicinal product. So this is how the regulations keep on coming up. Now, in spite of saying all this process of regulatory process and how the different countries will do and how the dynamics on the review thing or like nitrosamine, like surprises in continuation to nitrosamine, now there are so many such challenges has been there. Like one more such challenge is extractable and leachables. Okay. Earlier, when we are using the glass bottles or plastic bottles, we are not focused to test what is the quantity of the materials that leach from the bottle and then come into the product. So that was not being proven. Now this being mandated by most of the regulators today. If you are basing on your composition, you have to show free from few metals. So now it is part of all the product specifications, free from extractables and leachables, or if it is present, each metal, suppose cadmium or magnesium, whatever it may be, the metals of particular bottle or glass should be present below certain limit. Now this is mandate test in all the drug products. So you have to test all the metals of probable choice. Then you have to mention in your COA that this is free from this particular metal ion. So these are all the challenges will come up on as the science has emerging. Okay. So how to face these challenges? So industry is always equipped to face any kind of challenge and do the best practices and do the business. But now keeping the space is increasing, the knowledge is increasing, and the challenges are also increasing, like only on the not on the product development, but because of the new inventions, new knowledge, new awareness is coming, like the nitrosamines or the leachables or genotoxic materials or carcinogenic materials. Now, as the different functions across the world are working and classifying few drugs or components as carcinogenic. So now the challenge is also coming back to the industry that these should be free from so and so carcinogenic materials. Suppose somewhere someone publish this material or this impurity is a carcinogenic, then that comes as enforcement and regulation that it should be free from this particular material. So all this, it's a continuous process. It's keep on coming up, and industry has to face these challenges. And most important is price. Okay, by doing all this, we do product development, we do marketing, we do commercial. It may take 5-6 years. By the time you do, there is a lot of competition, and the health expense is growing day by day. So that what agents are doing, they are putting price control acts. Even in India also, there is a price control act. Similarly, in US and other developed market also, a price control acts are in place, so that whatever you do now, along with time and robust product, you also has to meet the pricing. Unless and until you make a product which is viable and sellable in the market, all the efforts what we do as a company will get a stake. So that is also one of the major challenge. Now industry has trying its bets to face the challenges on timely delivery, to face the challenges on cost, to face challenges on safety. So all these are coming up. There are proper structure is there in place, and now the industry is vigilant. Industry is talking to the regulators on daily basis or weekly basis, and industry is participating in enormous number of seminars and this scientific discussions, so that they can aware the industry thoughts or the regulators thought process or the regulators advancements well ahead of time, and put that into the system so that it will not be come up as a surprise, or the product withdrawals or the delays in the product development can impact the revenues or the medicine availability to the mankind. So these are all the different mechanisms companies put in place, and now this is being properly dealing by all mature companies in and outside of India. Okay, so these are all like this one, and that's it from my side. So if you have any questions or anything, I'm open to address.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the insightful session or the scenario of industry and how to make the pharmaceutical products meeting the global regulatory requirements. Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Ramna Reddy, sir, to give the concluding remarks of the session. Please carry on, sir.
So I tried to cover, because I got only 1 hour. Maybe I could be a little past, or I don't know, but I'm very open even anytime. So half an hour or 1 hour, I'm there to explain, because I thought of covering certain things which has give a complete meaning. So that was the reason maybe I could run a little faster to complete on time, but I'm available now to address or to answer any questions from any one of you. Thank you,
no, sir, you have given a very detailed talk, sir, on regulatory requirements.
Yes.
Are you for any questions?
No, sir.
Okay.
Please give the concluding remarks, sir.
So very thankful to Dr. Adhinaran Reddy Garu for your extensive talk on pharmaceutical product development meeting global regulatory requirements. So Adhinaran Reddy Garu has explained the drug approval process, role of regulatory agencies and pharmaceutical industries. So what do you mean by NDA and ANDA process? The drug approval process in US, India, Indonesia, and Bangladesh, and Indian pharma industry sales for this academic year 2001, and Indian pharmaceutical exports from India also has elaboratively given. More export destination for Indian pharma also. So 34% in USA and 17% in Africa. And also SAR has given more detail about the opportunities for Indian pharma industry and pandemics, regulatory agilities in the time of COVID-19 emergency use authorization, and the challenges for global launches of the product, with the example of nitrosamines, and how to overcome the challenges. So, Dr. Sir Adnan Reddy, once again, we are very thankful for readily accepting our invitation to give a talk on this, sir. So, we are very thankful to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I'm always available whenever you need anything. So,
definitely will utilize your services, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, can I sign off, sir?
Sir, okay. Principal ma'am will be joining soon.
Okay, okay. Right.
So immediately after this session, we have validity session too, sir. Please be wait for validity session too, sir.
Okay. Okay, okay.
I request respected and beloved principal ma'am to interact with sir and speak a few words. Dr. Adnan Reddy sir is here. Shall I start giving the...
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, perfect, ma'am.
Yeah, please proceed.
Shall I proceed with the valedictory session, ma'am?
Yeah.
On behalf of Department of Pharmaceuticals and Biotechnology, in association with Siddhartha Pharma Innovation and Incubation Center, KVSR Siddhartha College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, I request our respected beloved principal ma'am to give valedictory remarks of the FDP program, and then we'll proceed with the vote of thanks. Please proceed, ma'am.
Yeah, very good morning to one and all. I am overwhelmed to inform you that as a part of our continuous strive to add value to students and institutions' journey, KVSR Siddhartha College of Pharmaceutical Sciences is launched EFDP Series 2022, where we are inviting education stalwarts to contribute in insightful discussions around the rapidly evolving higher education world. The faculty development programs will be open to education industry professionals to attend, participate, and contribute. The programs are curated for the faculty members, considering the need of understanding of the basic concepts and significance of innovation in the pharma field. The Department of Pharmaceutics and Biotechnology, KVSR Siddhartha College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, took initiative to organize 1-week online faculty development program on emerging trends in pharmaceutical sciences, challenges from academic research to commercialization. For this program, total 200 members have participated. On the first day, Professor Lingaya Nagarpu, Senior Principal Scientist, CSIR, Indian Institute of Chemical Technology, Hyderabad, has emphasized on Indian pharma vision, innovations, and their impact. And the session 2, Dr. G.V. Murali Mohan Garu from Dexa Medical Center, Indonesia, enlightened on complex generics and emerging trends in pharmaceutical industry. On the second day, Dr. Girija Patro, head NDDS department, Naprod Life Sciences Private Limited, Mumbai, has skimmed about the novel approaches in liposomal formulations. On the third day, Dr. Kannan, Emeritus Professor, St. James College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Kerala, paves the way to better understand the concept of design of experiments and apply practically in the day-to-day academic research. On the fourth day, Dr. K. Naveen Babu, Professor KVSR Siddhartha College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Vijayawada, highlighted the significance of bioactive molecules and isolation of bioactives from actinomycetes according to official standards. On the fifth day, Dr. Falguni Pati, Associate Professor, Department of Biomedical Engineering, has covered elaboratively on the concept of 3D printing technology and its applications in pharmaceutical and biomedical sectors. On the sixth day, Dr. R.K. Sarin, Professor, National Forensic Science University, Goa, focused on the narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances and their characterization. And finally, the end of this session, Dr. Adi Narayana Reddy, API Plus Manager, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, Bachupalli, Hyderabad, has emphasized on the development of pharmaceutical products as per the regulatory requirements in the current scenario in industry. This approach helps the faculty in taking the students' imagination beyond classrooms teaching to actual scientific exploration. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for all the speakers for their efforts to enlighten us with the innovations in pharma field. So at this juncture, I would like to express my sincere gratitude and indebtedness to our Honorable Chairman, Dr. C. Nageshwar Rao Garu, Siddhartha Academy of General and Technical Education, and our beloved Secretary, Sri Paladu Lakshmana Rao Garu, Siddhartha Academy of General and Technical Education, and respected convener, Sri C.H. Arun Kumar Garu, KVSR Siddhartha College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, for their continuous support and constant encouragement. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Ramana, Head Department of Pharmaceutics and Biotechnology, KVSR SCOPS, and his whole team for their tremendous work to execute this program in an effective manner. I also wish to express my gratefulness to the event organizer, Dr. Sheikh Arifa Begum, Assistant Professor, and Creative Designer, Dr. Ravi Shankar, Assistant Professor in the Department of Pharmaceutics, for their marvelous contribution. I take this opportunity to announce that the Department of Pharmaceutical Analysis, KVSR Siddhartha College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, will be organizing 1-week online international faculty development program on regulated bioanalysis research orientation from 1st to 6th August 2022. And glad to announce the Department of Pharmacognosy, in association with the Department of Pharmacology, KVSR Siddhartha College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, will be organizing another faculty development program in the 4th week of August. Many higher education professionals from the various states in India and abroad are participating. And we would like to invite you to join the upcoming programs also. Thank you for your active participation. I express my sincere gratitude to all the faculty, pharma fraternity, and the principals of various pharmacy colleges who have supported us to participate in this program and make this event as a grand success. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your kind words. Shall I release the certificates, ma'am?
Yeah. I request Dr. Radhinarayan Reddy Garu, please kindly accept. We are launching the resource person e-certificates, the release certificate of appreciation to Dr. Lingaya Garu. Day 1, session 2 speaker. Next, this one. Not moving.
It's not moving, ma'am.
Yeah.
Here it's moving. Okay, ma'am. I'll move.
Yes. Dr. Kannan Garu, Dr. Murli Mohan Garu, Dr. Girija Petro Garu, Dr. Kannanji, Dr. Ranbu Kale, Dr. Falguni Pati, Dr. R.K. Savinji, Dr. Adinarayan Reddy Garu. Sir, please accept it as a token of.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Lots of gratitude and
Thank you
thank
for
you so much.
sharing your valuable time with us, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
I hope the session is fulfilled with your gracious presence and the admiring lecture to all of us.
Shall I conclude the session, ma'am?
Yeah. I will be in touch with you, Adinarayan, sir. Whenever you are coming to Vijayawada, you make it convenient to visit KVS
Yes.
college.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. I will rarely travel, but we'll make it happen.
Sure.
Vijayawada is specially has to come.
Okay, sir.
The time I visit Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai,
Oh.
it's okay. Vizag, most frequent.
Yeah, while going to Vizag, you can stay here for a day to address our students, can interact with the faculty members directly.
We'll make it happen, ma'am. This year, 2022, we'll try.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Adinarayan Reddy Garu.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
One second.
Thanks to all.
1 second, ma'am.
Yeah.
Let us play national anthem, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. That's being.
Not audible.
It's not being played, ma'am. Not yet started. Just a minute, ma'am.
Yeah.
Screen. Yeah, it's being played. Play out, ma'am.
Not audible.
మీరు అవి దీని నుంచి ప్లే చేయండి. Anyway,
Do it, sing a song yourself, Arena, who will join. Arifa,
Yes, ma'am.
let you start. What's the delay?
We are trying whether it is being clear.
Then otherwise, Ravi Shankar, you operate in another device directly.
Leadership also, sir. Okay. I'll play one second. We'll go along with it.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
We'll
See you,
conclude the
sir.
session.
Adinarayan, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dear registered participants, so all the participation certificates will be sent to your respective mail IDs within 2 days. Dear all registered participants, your participation certificates will be forwarded to your mails within 2 days.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.